Christians following the Western calendar celebrate Easter today by holding masses and prayers. In the Vatican, Pope Francis I calls for peace and to find a political solution for the crisis in Syria. And Syrian Arab Army units pounds the terrorist hideout, destroying their criminal weapons and killing many of them. Good afternoon, this is News English from the Syrian Arab Television in Damascus, and happy Easter. Syrian Christians following the Western calendar celebrate Easter today. The celebrations are confined to religious masses and prayers in churches. A mass was held in the Church of Lady Fatima in Damascus, led by Roman Catholic Patriarch Gregorius III Laham of Antioch and the whole East. He spoke about the values of Easter, pointing out that this is an occasion where it is a symbol of brotherhood, love, cooperation and national unity. This would strengthen Syria's confrontation of foreign challenges and pressures. In Bethlehem, the city of Jesus Christ, the Palestinians celebrated Easter in spite of the harsh conditions of the continuing Israeli occupation of Palestine. Patriarch Fuad Tawal of the Latin Christians in Jerusalem and the Holy Land surveyed these harsh conditions and denounced the Israeli policies of displacing Palestinians and besieging the Gaza Strip. The Mass was joined by thousands of Palestinians and foreigners from various parts of the world. In the Vatican, Pope Francis I called for peace and to find a political solution to the crisis in Syria. In Easter Mass, Pope Francis I underlined the importance of living together peacefully. The Pope asserted that all religions can live together with harmony without divisions. The Pope also called for an end of all wars and for cessation of exploitation of natural resources. Iranian Assistant Foreign Minister for Arab and African Affairs Hossein Amir Abdullahian discussed the Syrian crisis with the UN envoy to Syria, al-Assad al-Ibrahimi. He surveyed Iran's attitudes to the current regional and global developments and stressed the necessity of solving the Syrian crisis through political mechanism within the context of the UN efforts. Egyptian authorities denied reports about weapons in a ship coming from Iran on its way to Syria. The chairman of Suez Canal Committee, General Muhab Mamish, asserted that the ship, which raised the flag of Tanzania, contained no weapons. It also carried a cargo of urea used in chemical industries. The ship was thus allowed to pass. Scores of Palestinian demonstrators commemorating the Day of the Land in the town of Sikhne in occupied Palestinian territories chased away the correspondent of the Qatari TV channel Al Jazeera because of its hostile attitude towards Syria. The demonstrators expressed false support for Syria, raised Syrian and Palestinian flags, and asserted their rejection of the imperialist Zionist plot against Syria and its people. Former correspondent of the American CNN TV channel Amber Leon said that during her work in the channel she was ordered to send false news reports and to cast away news that is not to the liking of the American administration in its attempts to create a public opinion supporting aggression on Iran or Syria. She said that the channel fabricated false and selective news reports and received money from the American and other foreign governments to dispatch such reports. Units of the Syrian Arab Army inflicted heavy casualties among the terrorist groups in a series of operations carried out against their gatherings in Jobar, the farms of Douma, Adra and al-Ataybi in al-Ghouta of Damascus countryside, destroying their hideouts and killing many terrorists inside them. Meanwhile, units of the armed forces destroyed a terrorist warehouse full of weapons and ammunition, killing many terrorists in the farms of Douma east of Misraba. Also, a unit of the Syrian Arab Army killed 2 leaders of the armed terrorist groups in a successful operation in Adra. Another unit of the armed forces pounded a gathering for the terrorists and destroyed a number of their vehicles, killing many of them in an operation carried out in al-Ataybi. After information came from the people of Daraya in Damascus countryside about a terrorist hideout in that area, and after close monitoring, the security forces captured a warehouse full of weapons, ammunition and handmade bombs prepared to be detonated in that area. In the village of Qasarin in Hama countryside and in cooperation with locals there, special forces of the Syrian Arab Army fended off an attack by a terrorist group, killing many of its members and injuring the rest of them. As a result of the operation, the army seized many stolen cars with fake license plates and a large quantity of ammunition and weapons that included RPG shells and remote control explosive devices, in addition to communication devices and developed computers that had been used by terrorists. In Aleppo, the Syrian Arab Army units destroyed dens and gatherings for terrorists with their weapons and ammunition. In Al-Baraj, Badin Square, they also located hideouts in the local mosque, Al-Hajj Bridge, the Sarbin Pool and Bustan al-Basha in the city and its countryside. Syrian Arab Army units caused heavy losses among terrorists in Al-Khalidiyya, Al-Qarabis, Bab Houd and Wadi Sayh and Homs city. They also destroyed their vehicles. In related news, the Syrian Arab Army units destroyed terrorist dens in Rastan, Talbise, Ad-Dar al-Kabire, Ad-Dabba, Arjun, Beit Rabah and Taldaw in Homs countryside. Syrian military units targeted terrorist groups in a series of operations in Idlib and its countryside. A military source said that a number of terrorists were killed in their vehicles that were carrying heavy guns in Ma'arat Noman. The source added that they also targeted armed men on the highway that links Idlib to Sirmin. Many of the armed men were killed and wounded. Some of them were non-Syrians. In Libya, armed men attacked a military base at the borders to the south of Sabha, killing 2 soldiers and wounding several others. An explosive device was also detonated in the building of the court in the town of Darna in the east, causing great damage, but there was no report of casualties. These incidents are the result of the chaos and the spread of armed militias in the country since the NATO-led invasion on Libya 2 years ago. Ships of the Russian Black Sea Navy completed the active stage of their southern training maneuvers to examine combat readiness in southern Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that its vessels succeeded in disembarking fighters on the shores of the Black Sea, while warplanes supported this operation from the air. Battleships and supply ships of the Black Sea Navy are expected to return to their stations today. That was our news for today. For more details, you can visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Our economic news after the break with Khalid.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The Syrian Chambers of Agriculture called for enhancing the livestock production. They also called for encouraging the establishment and the agricultural companies to ensure the achievement of the high economic feasibility through the modernization of the ways and the means of the production and following the new scientific methods to reduce the production's cost. The association noted that the statistical data confirms the presence of a great opportunity to up the production and to reduce the production's costs. The subcommittees of fuel in Sueda approved allocating 1 day every week for distributing the imported amounts of diesel fuel to the farmers so that they can implement this year's agricultural plan. The committee also has decided to wire the funds allocated for the heating and the transportation to the agricultural sector. The Director of the Economy and Foreign Trade in Tartus announced that they issued 73 new import licenses during March. The goods worth about $149 million came in. He also pointed out the continued cooperation between the Ministry of Economy and its directorates, as this cooperation is helping the local businesses. The Central Bank of Syria set the purchasing price of the United States dollar at 86.52 Syrian pounds and the selling price at 87 Syrian pounds. According to the Central Bank of Syria's bulletin, the euro purchasing price was set at 110.67 Syrian pounds and the selling price was at 111 Syrian pounds. The 21-carat gold was set at 5,000 Syrian pounds per gram for the second day, as the Jewelers Assembly set the price of the Rashadiya golden coin at 36,000 Syrian pounds, and the English coin was set at 40,800 Syrian pounds. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our news bulletin for today. We wish you all the best. Join us again tomorrow, and happy Easter.